Welcome to my channel.
Alright, so today we're going deep on a story that on the surface might seem kind of lighthearted, but trust me, there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. We're looking at an episode from the Mass Mystery Tapes podcast called The Mysterious Case of Whiskers the Cat.
Yeah, you know the stories that make you chuckle but then also make you think? This is one of those, it's like a little window into how communities work and how we try to make sense of things that just don't seem to add up.
Okay, so set the scene for me.
Yeah.
What's the backdrop for this quirky little mystery?
Picture a typical small town. You know, the kind where life moves at a slower pace and everyone knows everyone else. It's the kind of place where a missing pie from a windowsill would be the talk of the town for a week.
I get it. Peaceful, predictable, maybe even a little bit boring.
Exactly. And in this town, we meet the Johnsons and their cat, Whiskers. Now, Whiskers, he wasn't your average house cat. He was known for his adventures, roaming around the neighborhood, popping in and out of gardens. A real charmer, by all accounts.
Okay, so far so normal. Where does the mystery part come in?
Well, it all starts with Mrs. Johnson. She starts noticing that some of her garden gnomes are missing. At first, she probably thought she'd just misplaced them or something. But then more gnomes vanish, and it becomes clear something's not right.
That's odd. That disappearing gnome here and there, you'd probably start to wonder.
Right. And then Mr. Thompson, another resident, he chimes in with his own strange tale. His prized lawn flamingos, gone. Poof. Vanish into thin air.
Now we're talking. Missing gnomes and flamingos. That's got to get the rumor mill churning.
Oh, absolutely. The neighborhood is buzzing. People are starting to connect the dots. Was it a prank? Kids, maybe? Or some kind of, I don't know, a rogue lawn ornament collector?
I love that. A rogue lawn ornament collector. Did anyone have any serious theories?
The podcast talks about how a neighborhood meeting pops up. You can just imagine it, right? Everyone huddled together, trying to figure out who or what is behind this bizarre string of thefts.
It's funny how something so small, so seemingly insignificant, can really capture a community's attention. It's like everyone needs an explanation of the story to make sense of it all.
That's it. It's that human need for narrative. We don't like loose ends. We want things to make sense. And when something weird happens, especially in a place where we feel safe and things are usually predictable, our brains go into overdrive trying to find an explanation.
So while the neighbors are busy trying to crack the case, what's Whiskers up to during all of this?
Well, the Johnsons, they're none the wiser at this point. They just think Whiskers is being a typical cat. You know, bringing home the occasional gift, a dead bird, a lizard, maybe a shiny bottle cap. Standard cat stuff.
Oh, those gifts. Every cat owner knows what you're talking about. But I'm guessing those gifts took a turn for the unusual?
You could say that. You see, Whiskers wasn't bringing home lizards or bottle caps. He was bringing home, wait for it, garden gnomes and flamingos.
No way. He was the thief all along. I can't even imagine Mr. Johnson's face when he figured that out.
The podcast really emphasizes Mr. Johnson's shock. Imagine thinking your cat is just out there chasing butterflies and then you realize he's basically a tiny furry bandit with a taste for lawn decor.
So, how did the truth finally come out? Did Whiskers slip up and leave a gnome trail leading back to the Johnson's house?
Close. Mr. Johnson, he had his suspicions, so he decided to follow Whiskers on one of his little excursions. And what does he see? Whiskers, bold as brass, sneaking into Mr. Thompson's yard and making off with another gnome.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Mr. Johnson must have felt like he was in some kind of cartoon. It's amazing how our pets can have these secret lives that we're completely oblivious to.
Right. It makes you wonder how much we really know about our animal companions. They're constantly observing us, learning our routines, but we often project our own interpretations onto their behavior.
So once the cat was out of the bag, so to speak, what happened? Did they put Whiskers on trial for grand theft gnome?
Well, Mr. Johnson, being a good guy, he realized he had to come clean to Mr. Thompson. And instead of getting angry, they both had a good laugh about it. I mean, what else can you do when you find out your cat is a kleptomaniac with a penchant for tacky garden ornaments?
I'm picturing them shaking their heads, chuckling, and wondering how they're going to explain this to the rest of the neighborhood.
They knew they needed proof, so they decided to set up a camera in Mr. Thompson's yard. And the footage they got, priceless.
I bet. So what did they see? Did Whiskers have a whole heist operation going on?
It wasn't exactly Ocean's 11, but it was pretty entertaining. The podcast describes Whiskers going about his thievery with a certain feline finesse. No forced entry, no struggle, just a casual stroll into a yard, a quick selection of the desired item, and then a dignified exit with the loot in tow.
I can just picture it. Whiskers strutting around like he owns the place, a gnome tucked under his arm. What did neighbors think when they saw the footage?
Well, Mr. Johnson and Mr. Thompson, they decided to call another neighborhood meeting. But this time, it wasn't to speculate or point fingers. It was to have a good laugh and return the stolen goods. Imagine that, a whole community coming together because of a cat's unusual hobby.
That's the best part of the story. It started with confusion and maybe a little bit of frustration, but it ended up bringing people together.
It goes to show you, sometimes a little bit of chaos, a little bit of the unexpected can be a good thing. It can break down barriers, create shared experiences, and remind us not to take ourselves too seriously.
And what about Whiskers? Did he become a local celebrity?
Oh, absolutely. He went from being the mysterious phantom thief to the town mascot. Everyone knew his name. Everyone had a Whiskers story. The Johnsons, I bet they were getting requests for Whiskers autographs.
I wouldn't be surprised. So what can we take away from this whole Whiskers saga?
Well, I think it reminds us that sometimes the simplest explanation is the right one. We tend to overthink things, look for complex reasons when sometimes the answer is right in front of us. And it's a good reminder that laughter can be a powerful tool. It can bring people together, diffuse tense situations, and help us see the humor in the everyday, even when things go a little haywire.
It makes you wonder how many other Whiskers are out there, quietly causing mischief and bringing communities together in the process. It's a good reminder to keep our eyes open for the unexpected and to remember that sometimes the best stories are the ones we least expect. So the next time you see a cat wandering around, don't just assume it's looking for a bird to chase. It might be on its way to pull off the heist of the century. And you never know, that cat might just end up bringing your whole neighborhood closer together.
Absolutely. Keep an open mind, embrace the unexpected, and never underestimate the power of a good laugh. Who knows what other strange and wonderful mysteries are waiting to be uncovered right in our own backyards.
That's a great note to end on. So until next time, keep exploring those weird little corners of the world and let us know what you find. Who knows, your discovery might just be the next deep dive.
We'll be here waiting. And remember, folks, always be kind to your furry friends, even if they have a penchant for lawn ornaments. You never know what adventures they might be leading you on.
See ya next time.
Bye now.